Hello Flosstube, my name is Mariam, my pronouns are she, her. You may know me as Marumi Crafts on Instagram or Marumi Designs on Etsy. Welcome to my Flosstube. This is a channel about cross stitch. Sometimes I share with you my designing endeavor and other crafty stuff that I partake in, but our main focus is stitching. And this is a Flosstube extra and a WIP rate to boot. Yes, so it is time for, I cannot believe that we already almost past mid-year. How did this happen? I have no idea. We are almost at the end of June. Like, are you kidding me? I don't know. Anyway, so, it's time to go through the WIPs and see what is what and if I have touched any of these in the past 6 months or no. The way it works, because I usually have notes, all the details about the WIP and all of that, this time is different. I'm pre-recording this video. By the time you're watching it, I am on my vacation. I'll be out of contact, and this time that I'm recording this is on the eve of Juneteenth. So I had this one opportunity one day off to be able to pack as much punch as I can to get to be prepared for the time that I go, so that I'm gone. So what I'm doing is I'm flying by the seat of my pants, no notes today. So I just recorded a Flosstube. Hopefully that will go up tomorrow. And now I have my box of things, which has it's overflows with all the WIPs that I have. I'm gonna just start from the top, pick one. The box is right here. You can't see it, it's right here. I'm gonna pick one from the top. We're gonna continue going through until we hit that bottom of that box of things, and then as much information I can gather from the bag and the stuff that is inside, we're going to go with that. And then each of those, when I'm done with it, I'm going to throw it behind me. So you're going to see a pile happening right there. All right, let's get it started. These are the projects that I'm actually, the first one is the project that I'm taking with me on vacation. So let me give you the photo. Is a Rosewood Manor, 1 dozen Quaker. This is a sale started by EJ from Sunshine Stitchers, and I am stitching it on 16 count hand-dyed Aida in red tail. This is actually tighter than 16, is more like 17 count, and I am using Sanjo silk, which are actually yarns for machines and not technically stitching threads, but they work for like if you use monostrand, it works for like a 16 or up to, I would say maybe 18 count, but nothing more than that, higher than that. And this one is in moss. So I love how the color blends into the background in some areas, right? So my hope is to have some significant progress on the plain. This will be my plain project because it's 16 count, it should be easy to see, and it's a monochrome pattern. So next is Free Palestine. This is a freebie pattern by Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery. These are motifs, Tetris, which is traditional Palestinian embroidery designs. And I am stitching on 32 count even weave. I think it's Lugana in Fabric Flare in burnt parchment, and I am using 2 threads. The red is Anchor Red, and then I think it's 0044 or something like that, and then the other one is a Sulky blendable. Next is another project that I'm taking with me on this trip. It is Tom's Foolery by Hands Across the Sea. This is a reproduction, and just look at that insanity. I'm stitching it at 20 count Aida in Cashmere blue, using 1 thread of Sulky 12 weight, and I adjusted the pattern here, and I, instead of Adam and Eve, which I don't do that, instead I have Zero Fill and Crowley from Good Omen. So I'm a little over halfway done, and now the bottom half is what remains. This is one of the oldest WIPs that I have. I think it is actually the oldest WIP that I have now, and I really want to finish it this year. Next is the Stitch for Pride June drop, which was for Frida Kahlo. This is the pattern. This is the design, and this is a monthly stitch along. It's actually by the time you see this, it will be closed again, but it was offered. There was pre-order in December, and then it closed by the end of December, and then this is designed by Dee's 20 Stitches. Dee, who's the designer of this pattern, of this stitch along, basically, they provide a pattern each month plus an education piece on the topic, which is the queer artist. So each month we have a queer artist as an inspiration of that pattern. So this month is Frida Kahlo, which was my absolute favorite painter, and this is how far I have come. The fabric is Determination. This is 36 count linen, hand dyed by Jessie from Mislaid Pages, and the threads I'm using are called for threads that are hand dyed specifically for this pattern by Jasmine Knitting Nurse. So I was lucky to get both threads and the fabric, so I'm stitching on those. So I'm hoping to finish this up before I leave, so hopefully by the time you actually watch this, I have done this, and the update should be on my Instagram, so you should be able to see that, what it looks like when it's done. Next is Come to the Garden by Cheese of Coquette. This is what the original model and called for threads in the called for colors looks like, and it's a big sampler, and I did total color conversion on this. So the fabric is 18 count Mystic, Picture This Plus and Mystic, and threads are my own color conversion, my own color palette from Sulky, both solid colors, and there are a few blendables that I have used, and this is how much I have stitched on it. So this year so far I've been able to finish 1 page. I'm hoping to at least finish another page before the end of the year, so I have a whole top row done. Next is the Namarie Tapestry, which was a a stitch along. So it's from Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's Lord of the Ring inspired. Is elven in the middle, and then all the design on the side and the top and bottom. My plan is not to stitch the middle at all, so right now I'm on the top, so I'm gonna pull this whoosh up there and just stitch those horses and then the swans and the snakes. Let me show you. And this is this is 20, yes, 20 count Lugana in, if not mistaken, Sunflower or something like that. And threads, the thread is hand dyed silk from Sanjo silk in metallic. Let me see if I have the name of the fabric somewhere. Yeah, it's Sunflower, and it's 20 count Lugana. And this is how much I have. Yeah, I do love the color I chose, the color combination that I chose, the yellow and gray. Okay, what's next? It's stitching time. So this is my unicorn pattern that I was finally able to find. So this is, so I'm collecting Workbasket patterns, and this was my unicorn. It's a Workbasket pattern. So this is what it looks like charted. It's stitching time. There's so many little critters there, but life is too short for boring colors, as I say. So that's not the colors. Those not the colors that I'm using. Instead, I am stitching this on 18 count on hand dyed fabric by D. So this was a gift from a friend. Look at that fabric. How fabulous this is. So yeah, the last time I picked it up, I finished the border. I mean just the part, like the perimeter of it. I have yet to go back and add all the doodads. And I had, I think, a couple of leaves, and now I have a whole bunch of leaves and critters added to it. The threads I'm using are, you know, combination of silk and cotton threads. Next is Like a Poppy by Bella Filipina. This is my working copy. It's all battered because, yeah, it's, you know. So she's gorgeous. And by the way, she's a trans, is she a goddess? I think she's a goddess. Or deity of some kind. I'm not sure. And I have made some very good progress. So I was able to add a whole page, actually the busiest page of the pattern. Look at her, how gorgeous she looks. So I stitched this page here. So most of the skirt and the shawl and the part of the shawl that is like hanging from her other hand, it's all of it stitched now. And I'm not using any beading. I don't like beading. Instead I am using Petite Treasure braid instead. So it's just extra sparkly. So these are called for DMC colors, And then the fabric is 18 count Mystic fabric in a opal night sky unifer. That's another project that I really do like to be able to finish up this year. Let's see if I can do that, because so far everything I touched I really want to finish. I have to say I've been really good at maintaining my focus mainly. It's not like I haven't started anything. No, I actually had. But I have maintained my focus to be on my WIPs. So I have been stitching a lot on my WIPs. Speaking of starts, oops. Speaking of starts, this was a start. Do I have a photo? Don't think I do. I'm gonna insert it here somewhere. If I remember. If not, yeah. This is Know Thyself. This was this is also designed by these 20 stitches. There's a theme here, I know. What can I say? I love their design, and they're very talented, and they come up with a lot of like good patterns for good causes. So on the Trans Day of Visibility, they released this pattern for 1 day and 1 day only, to raise money for their top surgery, which they're actually gonna go get that done very soon. Probably by the time you're watching this, it's already happened. So I'm sending good vibes and hoping they're doing okay. So this is the pattern. So I'm using my own colors. This is 20 count dark blue Lugana, and then I am using 4 Sulky colors. Next is actually a model. It's my own design. I don't have a photo of this one either, and if I remember, it will be inserted here. If not, you can see it on my IG. The pattern called Bahar, which means spring, and it's a feminine name as well. And you can say this is sort of like a sister to Sepide, which was for Yalda and winter equinox, winter solstice. This one is for spring equinox. This was released for Nowruz, which is Persian New Year, and happens on the spring equinox. I'm stitching it on 36 count linen, Edinburgh linen in terracotta, and I'm using my own colors, my own color palette. Called for. My brain is not working. And I have this tiny little start. This is usually happens. So if I don't stick to stitching the model before I release the pattern, I lose esteem. But I really want to stitch this one because I really like it, and also because the colors that I chose, the background that I chose in the mock, are not even close to this, and I really meant for this pattern to be stitched on something like this. So I really want it to be finished so you can actually see why, because I feel like I have a feeling this will look very amazing when it's done. So I want to go back to it and stitch it. What else is new? can you send help? Someone to work on my behalf so I can, I don't know, or send me some rich uncle out of the blue and unknown uncle. I take it. Leaving me all, you know, a lump sum of a lot of money. So I don't need to work. So I can stitch instead. Anyway. Next is, oops. We have Mother Moon by, is that John Elliott? Yes, John Elliott. And I'm using colorful threads, except for the beading. I'm changing the beads to Petite Treasure braid, similar to what I did with Like a Body. And I'm stitching on 18 count Mystic fabric in Wisteria. And this, when I picked it up, I had like a miserable little start. Just had a line there around the corner. I think these two moons were done, and I think that's it. And so I stitch all of that. I especially love this. Just look how sparkly this is. I don't know if you can see how sparkly this is. Right? So beautiful. So much metallic thread is done in this. Next is a Tetris project from a World of Cross Stitching magazine. I think this was January edition. This is a Palestinian project by Deco Elian. This is almost all of the pattern. This is the other side of it. And this is the designer. This was like in a magazine, so I just printed out the pattern from magazine. And I am doing my own colors. I'm using colors from Palestinian flag. So I had another start here, so I have to frog that. I forgot that I have that on the corner, but here's where I am. Next, oops. Next is my what I called my guild pattern, my guild project, because I have been stitching in on this every time I go to guild meeting, and for like a day after, and that's it. So this is Quaker Crow by Workbasket. I love this pattern, and I'm stitching it on autumn 18 count printed fabric in autumn by DigiStitchery, and I'm using one thread of Threadworx in Loverux. I think that's what the color is named after. I don't know. So last time I picked it, actually I stitched a lot, so I was here. So I stitch all of this. So I'm not going to be in the meeting in July because obvious reasons, because I'm not around. I'm traveling. So sort of like I stitched more on it to make up for that. So hopefully I'm going to go back to it in August. Next is Cuckoo Bird Sampler. This is by Heartstring Hand. This is the pattern. I am stitching it on 18 count. Is this pewter blue? I don't remember what the color this is. I'm sure this is 18 count. Something blue. Maybe pewter blue? And I'm using cottage garden thread and what is the name of this? Golden Gully. Yeah. For those of you who have maybe questions, this is Asal. He was napping. Unfortunately, I threw it back and he woke up. Let's hope he goes back to sleep. Yeah, he did. Okay. Very good. Next is Byron Blackbird. This is by Stitchy Housewife. No. Yeah, this is by Stitchy Housewife. And this is what it will look like. We had Artsy Fartsy Sal, suggested by Nichia. So, this is how much I stitched on this. And the fabric is 18 count, extra design in Grandpa's sleeve. And the threads are unnamed leftover threads from my stash. This was a Stitch from Stash challenge that we started with with the needle minders. Did anyone else join us? I don't remember. So Artsy Fartsy is out. Join us. Any housewife pattern works. Stitchy Housewife. Then is Flavor of Autumn by Mary Weaver, and this is my full coverage pattern that I'm stitching on. I'm stitching it on 20 count white Aida. We're using Call for DMC 2/1 10 stitch. And I graded my fabric myself. And I have one more page. I stitched one more page. So now I am officially 25% done. Every time I take this out, I'm like, oh, it looks good. I should stitch on it. But then I feel the same about like all these, like that pile there too. So that is the problem. We need help. Send help. I need someone to stitch on, help, like live my life on my behalf, so I can stitch. Next is we're running on low battery. Let's hope we make it before we run out of batteries. So this is by Kit Cole. I think he's going by a different name now. I mean, it's Big Bad Vibe, Bad Vibes only on Etsy. Anyway, so this is Heart Sampler. I love this pattern. And I have a very miserable start and a tiny bit of progress. Not much to talk about, but I love it. This is how much I stitched. You need to get back on this. See? I just say that about every single freaking WIP that I have. we're almost there. Let's see if we can make it before the battery runs out. Next is Legends of Lake Geneva. It's by Owl Stitching House. I am not stitching the words, just bringing that up and just stitching the rest. I am stitching this on what am I stitching this on? I have no clue. I know I'm using my own Sulky conversion. Yeah. Yep, I have no clue. I don't know where I put that little tag, but I don't have it now. Anyway, so this is my little miserable start. Just a little bit of border, and that's it. I think this is from Cedar Linen, Cedar River Linen and Design, Jody. But I don't know which fabric that is. Oh wow. Next is my first attempt on a 40 count. This is Hope There It Is by Heartstring Samplery. That's what it looks like. I am stitching it on 40 count Huntress by Picture This Plus using a one thread of white thread. This is not DMC, it's unnamed. It's just a random thread that I have. First of all, just look at this beautiful fabric. It's gorgeous. And now that's my start. It's a tiny little start. I need to use my the light up glasses that I have, magnifying glasses with light, to be able to stitch on this, because it's not just tiny, it's dark. Next, we're almost there. Here's a Ghost Goth is next. This is by Hemlock and Rye, which is Julie from Kansas City, Girl in Color of the World business name. So this is originally, like, this was in a different colorway originally. This is reproduction. That version was the reproduction. But this is the goth version of that same pattern. So I decided to go even a little darker than that. I'm using the called for, but the fabric I'm using is 18 count cauldron, and the fabric is Devosa, and this, or whatever they call it, I do not know how to pronounce that, and it's gorgeous, spooky, and this is all I have stitched. I know, pathetic. Also, I love this pattern. I should get back to it. Blah 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 blah. It's the same freaking thing I said about every single WIP. That's because I have actually gone through my WIPs and I have got rid of, like, UFO'd a few. So everything that's left are actually projects I am interested in stitching and finishing. So is this the last one? Oh, yes it is. And lastly, the least of the fleet. This is Ink Circle let me show you the a pathetic start if there is one. This is on 22 count fabric, Aida, hand dyed by me. And it looks like a stormy night, right? And I am using 2 different silks to stitch on this. Since this is the last one, let me show you the threads. Okay, I am stitching using Silken Colors in Egyptian Nights and Gold Coast. Right. Can you believe it? This was the last freaking WIP. If there is a project that I am a little hesitant about, is this last one. I don't know. I need to think about it. I might, you know what, I actually like it, but it's too big. So maybe I only stitch a part of it, not the whole thing. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that is all my WIPs. I don't know how many I have. If I count it, I will put it on the screen somewhere. If I don't count it for me and let me know how many WIPs did I have. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully when I get back, I'll be able to, fingers crossed, we are planning on recording a special episode of Needle Minders Lemon to Lemonade kind of video in sometime at the end of July, and that will be the next video that I will promote on my Instagram. It's not going to be on my channel, it will be on one of the other members' channel, and yeah, we go from there. And as always, as much or as little stitching as you do, I hope it's enjoyable for you. Please use your voice for good, and advocate for those who are in need, support people who are being oppressed, and fight for freedom. Alright, free Palestine. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.